Hi, welcome back to Branching Out. I'm Curtis Hanlon. I'm here. I'm going to do some pawpaw planting today. I want to get some of those more mature pawpaws out there, at least to give it a good try over the winter time and see how they fare. Because I do have a small pawpaw and it's surviving, so I want to see if I can get it to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build some protective cages though from the animals, because when they seem to be, when they're fresh planted and they're out in the middle of nowhere, they definitely want to go at them. So to give them all the best chance they can, we're going to make 3. I'm only going to plant 3 of them, and then this is my week off, so I'm going to be planting some quince, possibly some persimmons, and probably I'm going to make a few of these cages just to make sure that they survive. I do got deer out the back, and they like to nibble on anything they can, it seems, and this should help. Maybe it won't protect it for sure, but I mean, it'll go from 50% up to say 80% less, and I'll take it. So let's get to work. I got some of this rabbit wire. You can use this stuff. You can use this. I got this smaller stuff here, this more thin stuff. I just grabbed some of this little bit of wire. You can use thinner stuff or the same stuff or thicker stuff, and I'm just gonna circle it like this. Now I made it about an arm's length so that when I do have it, I can either lift it up and or reach down and cut down some of the weeds that might grow around it. So what I'm going to try and do though, because I do have some of that cedar mulch left, which I'm a little worried about, because every time I put down the mulch, the mice want to eat my plants. So we'll give it a try. We'll try 1 or 2 with it and maybe 1 without it. So we'll see how it goes. But let's get building a couple of these little cages, these little protective animal cages. And what I might even do is put a little shade on the top so that the pawpaw doesn't get direct sunlight for an utmost amount of time. I know it's a little late in the season, but next season it'll definitely be seeing a lot of sunlight. So let's get this done. And I got my little pegs here that I'll use for these to pound in the ground to hold it there for the winter and the wind. And I got about 6 of those. I cut them in half. So let's get going. Let's get these done. Okay, so I'm all loaded for bear here. Got my dirt, soil. I got some potting mix here. Yeah, I got all these pegs that we pulled out from. They were markers for a lot of the perimeter to the maze, the rose hip maze, which I have decided not to do, and I'll show you what I did up there instead. So yeah, I got my little spikes here, my hammer, and now we just want to grab a couple of select pawpaws. So that's what we're going to do, and then we're going to get out to the back, find a space to put them. Alright, I have a horseshoe guild over here, so we're going to put one up there. I know it's right in the middle of the sunshine. We'll see what we have to do to shade it a bit, but we'll see how that works out. And then I went around this side and along my maple line here. I'm going to put another one here and another one between the 2 maples over there. On the other side of that, in between those 2 black poles, that's where the path will be. So I'm going to be taking out that walnut there. I know all you tree huggers, I love trees as well, but I got to replace it with something else because that tree will probably kill those maples. So let's get started. Okay, so I dug the hole pretty deep, a lot deeper than it should. I want to create a little basin in here. I'm not going to reuse any of this soil. I'm only going to use potting mix for this opera or this project. So get this out of here. It's a little dry. I'm going to have to go up there and give them a little water. And you can see the roots are, well, they're nice and loose, so that's good. So we'll get some soil in here. Let's get some soil in there, that's for sure. And build up the height a little bit. And what we want is that tapper to start hitting that. That's why I went as deep as I could there. So I'll pat that down. And I'll go a little bit more. Pat it down a little bit. There we go. So now, just fill her in. It's not brain surgery. Just get her in there. And then we're going to put the cage around it, and then we're going to add some wood chips to this one here. And that looks like I'm going to have to go get some more dirt. I got a couple more bags of this stuff on sale, so definitely want to get it in there. Pat it down, You just want to get it nice and tight in there. No air bubbles. Messes with the roots. So, just like that, pat it down. And we'll cover it with some of this other soil here that we dug up. All in all, a couple inches on the top surface is pretty decent soil around here, but everything else is clay. So we'll pat that down like that, and then we'll just grab some of this stuff here and break it up, put it around the top, try to grab the darker stuff, and that's pretty much it. So we'll cover this up a little bit and get rid of these weeds here, and then we'll get that cage on there. All right, so we got our little stick here. Get this over top, let her breathe a little bit, get her down nice and tight to the ground, I guess, as best you can. Now the wind comes from this direction, usually the winter and stuff, so I'm going to put it on this side and make sure. All right, I'm going to pull that up, start again. You want to go nice and straight, I guess, as best you can. Why are they doing that? All right, so move this over just a little bit, get her down. God. Doesn't have to be, it's in there, it's not going anywhere. So what we got is a couple pieces of wire here, just like that. We'll just go in there and around, and that's it. So we'll do that a couple more times down here and bring it in again and loop it. There we go. And that's about it. So for now, this will do. You want to just push it down in there, and that should hold it. And if I have to, I'll get another spike and put it in there to really hold it in place, because I don't want the wind to really mess with this at all. I want it to stay real steady, and hopefully it'll do well. That's just to protect it from the animals, and then we'll see about maybe putting a shade on the top if it gets too burnt. But we got 3 to try this season, and we'll see what happens. So let's get on to the next ones. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put some cedar mulch in there. Get some cedar mulch right here. Just help put it down in there and help with that keeping the moisture in the ground. And I'm hoping this ain't gonna create a bedding for an animal. So a little bowl most likely. So I'll pat that down just a little bit, maybe give it a little bit more. I don't mind having a little bit in there. And then we'll put some around the edge too. So we'll just get it covered a little bit. So we can keep the moisture in the ground longer. These things need a lot of moisture and a lot of drainage. So again, some of my plants work good in some areas, and then they work horrible in others. So we'll do that, and then as I get more mulch and stuff, I'll keep mulching around here. But that's about it for that. So let's get on to the next two. All right, so this is a low spot right here. And since the first one went so well, I think I'm gonna warm up by magic and just try and get one in here. So you ready? So in this one here though, it's kind of in a pit that usually collects water. So I didn't put a lot of mulch, just a little bit, and hope that those voles don't find that a nice little home, because if I was a mouse, I would think that was a nice little home. But I buried a couple banana peels around the edges just for shits and giggles. We'll see how that helps with the soil. So let's get on, one more. So last one, last pawpaw for this season. I'll save the rest for next season to see how well they do over winter. So we're gonna get on to some other stuff. I'm not sure what I'm gonna pick next, but could be a quince, could be a goumi berry, could be anything. But this whole week is all about getting the plants in the ground. And since it's gonna be nice and kind of weathery right now, we're gonna be expecting some rain. So that'll help water it in. I'm gonna definitely get some more of this mulch though. to help with some of my plants. So also this week I had checked my air layering, and I have two, one here and one down on the other plum. And as far as I know, it's not good enough. It has a good callus starting on here. The leaves are still on the branch. The rest of them all kind of were too long and then broke. But I just watered them. It's raining this week, so we're just gonna let these go for another week or so, and hopefully they get some roots in there. So right here I'm going to put in some boysenberry. I have some tomato cages just so that I can identify where they are in case the weeds grow a little too high. And we're going to put them right here. And let's just warm up the old magic hands. So they're in. We got to get out of here. I must have disturbed a bee's nest, so we're getting the heck out of here. But these are the boysenberries. Elderberry. Putting it down here. This end. Ready? So this is a John's elderberry. So again, these are just here so that I can recognize them so I don't run over them with the lawnmower. I'll bet it's happened to you, because it's definitely happened to me more than once, twice, probably more than this many times. Okay, I'm on a roll. Let's see if we can get another one in here. This is going to be our Logan berry. Who says tomato cages are just for tomatoes? So we're going to toss a blueberry in here. I'm going to try something different. This time I'm just going to throw it into the ground. Ready? And we don't have a tomato cage, so... Alright, right here I was just clearing out some of this brush here. It looks a lot like this. This is where the path is going. So I did a little bit of work already and took out this one here, and then it's all in the burn pile right now. And these are some of the plants I planted yesterday. So now I'm just going to pull out my good old gardening gun and I'll show you what else I'm going to do. Alright, so last year I started making a bunch of these, painting them black and filling them with water to help heat my greenhouse during the winter. And they worked for a little while until it got too cold, then they froze. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a bunch more of these. I need at least, I think, 20 to 30 more just to cover the back south wall. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I finally got my helper here. It's Friday. I got a couple more days before I have to go back to work. I've been off all week. And Karen's going to give me a hand trying to clear out as much as we can on this greenhouse to get it all clean and organized a little bit more so that it's more useful in the spring. And when I bring some of the plants on the outside, probably next week or the week after when it starts getting a little more cool, I'm going to be bringing them in here and nursing them inside the greenhouse for a month or two, so that because it's warm enough in here to keep them growing. So we're going to try and get the most out of the growing season on some of my chestnuts and walnuts, and I believe there's a few apple trees. I also have a few other things I have to do, so Karen's going to take it away. And
sure am.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah,
That's
no
all
problem.
it is. I need help, and
Let's do it.
I finally got some help. So I can't wait to see. This is the before. I'll do some magic right now, but no, we'll see the before later, okay? Or the after. All right, one goumi berry bush is in my horseshoe guild now. And we're gonna move on. I got another persimmon and a quince to put in, and 3 times on each. So I have 3 goumi, 3 persimmon, and 3 quince to get in the ground. And I've staked out some of the areas which I want them. So some of them aren't gonna go in right away. I got some lawn mowing to do and some burning to do. Well, just a little bit of this. Here you go, 1 quince in the ground. Now we're going to head over back to the back part and put in a few more goumi, persimmon, quince. There we go. Here's another goumi.
and another persimmon. So we're just going to keep going, finding places to put these plants in, and we'll keep spreading them out. I got some apples I probably want to put in here as well that I grew from seed through the winter in my kitchen. Here's another goumi berry. Put it on my vine here. These are where my cold-hardy kiwis will be growing. And on the end, that's a raspberry, triple crown. Oh, that's a great blue heron right there that just, I wish I got the flight. Oh, look at that, taking off. He saw me. He's coming in there trying to eat my fish. But yeah, that was the first time I ever got a good close-up. All right, so this is 2 days of cleaning that my niece Karen worked at, getting all these weeds out of here. And now I have a nice blank slate to work on my greenhouse again. And we're gonna have to do some work in the winter time to try to keep those weeds at bay in the spring. So I'm glad you came by to check out this video. This is the end of this video this week. I'm glad you came by, and come by next week when we'll have another video. Stay safe.